Alright, this is our first introduction video for flipped algebra. Every lesson will start with an intro video where I can go over some concepts, maybe some vocab and definitions, and then you'll have some example problem videos to watch after this. So each intro video will start with this slide, the table of contents. You can see the sections that will be covered. So today we're looking at sections 1.2, 1.3, and 1.6. We're going to set our notes up in a table of contents style. This is I forget what it's called, but this is a note-taking strategy. So we'll always come back, fill in our table of contents before we start our notes. Right here, you can fill in today's date and then know that we're going to cover those two sections. Well, three sections, I guess. Please pause the video as you need to so you can write stuff down. It's very important to write down directions, vocab, make sure that you have your attention to what I'm saying because I might be explaining something important that might not be written down. So we're listening and watching and pausing and rewinding and doing everything we can to take very good notes. Alright, so I'm going to go to the next slide. Each section will have a title at the top like this, so 1.2, 1.3, real number operations. So what we're looking at here is some basic math, but this is the kind of math people tend to get wrong a lot. So adding integers with the same sign, here are the rules we can follow. So if your two numbers have the same sign, we go ahead and we actually do add the numbers and you keep the same sign. So again, you can pause the video, write that down, hit play when you're ready for the next part. We also will look at adding integers with different signs. So that means one is positive, one is negative. So this one follows a different rule. Instead of adding the integers, even though it is an addition problem, we actually subtract the numbers. Just take the bigger number minus the smaller number. And then it got kind of, oh, there it is. And then you keep the sign of the bigger number. That's how you tell if your answer should be positive or negative. If you are subtracting integers, if there's a minus sign in between, you can add the opposite. So for example, if I have 6 minus 9, add the opposite just means take your subtraction, make it addition, and then the following number, give it an opposite sign. So 6 plus a negative 9 would look like that. Or let's say you had 6 minus a negative 9. To add the opposite on this, you take your subtraction, make it addition, and then you have to do the opposite sign of the next number, so that would become a positive 9 as well. So that's add op, and then once you do that, you have an addition problem, so you can just follow your addition rules. We also will be looking at adding and subtracting fractions. Anytime you add or subtract fractions, you have to find a common denominator. And if you are, I should have added this in. Well, I'm going to pause this and add something in real quick. Okay, it's like magic. Now I have my multiplying and dividing fractions I forgot to put on here. So when you multiply fractions, we will look at cross-reducing before we multiply straight across. If you are dividing fractions, we actually multiply by the reciprocal. A lot of times the shortcut way of saying that is flip and multiply. So all of this add, subtract, multiply, divide of fractions, you'll have some example videos to watch on that. Alright, the last section for this set of notes is on 1.6, order of operations. So your order of operations, a lot of times we say PEMDAS. If you were to write out PEMDAS, we tend to write it this way. I actually don't like to write it horizontally. I prefer to write it vertically. If I write it vertically, you know, I don't write out all the words. This is how I would write it. So first you do anything inside parentheses, and this is, you know, if you have multiple operations within a problem, you're just simplifying. So how do you know the proper order? You follow the order of operations. So first, everything inside your parentheses, then you do any exponents that you might have. And this is the part that we just have to make sure we remember. Multiplying and dividing, they are equally important. A lot of people want to do all the multiplication and then all of the division in that order, but it actually depends on how the problem is written. So on this, I make a little note off on the side and I say that your multiplication division has to be left to right. So you start on the left, so basically whichever one comes first. Left to right, multiply and divide. And after all your multiplication and division is done, then you can move on to addition and subtraction. But if you notice, these are on the same line again, so this is another one that has to go left to right. You might be doing subtraction before addition if that's what came first in the problem. Alright, so that's it for this intro video. The intro video again just gives you an overview of what the example videos or the concept videos will be going over in detail. You can get your vocab written down, all of that good stuff.